Okay, so I decided to take some advice from my friends and actually write down what I was going to say before I said it in hopes that it would sound less like I was repeating myself. So there we go. Today's movie is going to be The Wolfman, not the 1941 one with Lon Chaney and Bela Lugosi, but the 2010 one. Was it 2010 or was it 2009? Either way, it's the newest one with Benicio del Toro, Anthony Hopkins, and Hugo Weaving. Benicio del Toro, for those of you who don't know, was starred in such films as Snatch. Not what I thought it was. Okay, not a porn. But a good movie nonetheless. Kind of like Alaskan Bush Troopers. Totally not what I expected. There's some skinny dude with a shotgun poking at an Eskimo. A drunk one at that. Not that exciting. But yeah, Benicio del Toro was in the movie Snatch. He was also in Sin City, Fear and Loathing Las Vegas, and he was also in Big Top Pee-wee as Duke the Dog-Faced Boy. So that's interesting. Anthony Hopkins, really does he need an introduction? I mean, the guy's gonna be friggin' Odin, alright? When you're the All-Father, do you need an introduction anymore? No, I don't think you do. Alright, but for those of you who are living under a rock, he's also Hannibal Lecter, which I read the Hannibal Lecter books by Thomas Harris. I thought Anthony Hopkins did a phenomenal job portraying him, so... And I mean, I love those books. I recommend it to anybody. Watch the books, read the movie. No, watch the books. Read the books, watch the movie. You won't be disappointed. Another person who stars in this movie is Hugo Weaving. For those of you who don't know who Hugo Weaving is, he's basically a nerd's wet dream. He brought Elrond to life in the Lord of the Rings books. He's going to be combating Neo. No, he already combated Neo as Agent Smith, excuse me. Not affiliated with American Dad. Not that Agent Smith. Okay? Make that clear. But how awesome would that movie have been? I would have seen it more. Stan Smith. Yeah. No, he'll be fighting Captain America as Red Skull, and he was V. But you know that's not his fault that there's half a dozen little girls seeking attention wearing V masks on this certain website. He also reinvented somebody very dear to my heart. Well, not really my heart, but my childhood, which is kind of like my heart, I suppose. He actually voiced Megatron in the Transformer movies. The new ones, the live-action ones, which is really, really cool. Because not since I heard, what's his name? Leonard Nimoy voiced Galvatron did I ever think a Transformer ever sounded so badass. And I would have showed you this awesome thing, but apparently one of my friends transformed him. So it's not working out as well as I'd want. Hang on a sec here. Okay, so not working out as well as I'd hoped. I'm sorry about this delay in video. I could stop, but I'm actually doing pretty good here. Alright, I got him kind of built. Bam, hang on. That is not a bitch pudding moment. Okay, so, for those of you who don't know who Megatron is, this guy right here. Alright. And yeah, this is a Generation 1 Megatron toy. I actually got it from a friend of mine, Sean Ravenfire. Check him out on YouTube. He's got his own page here. He does a lot of comedy. Really funny guy. But yeah, I mean, I was saddened that Frank Welker, who was the original voice of Megatron from the series, did not voice him in the movie, because it was pretty badass that the original Prime voiced Prime, and a lot of the original voice actors had stepped on and decided to voice, you know, other characters in the series. I know the guy who did the voice of the Aerialbot leader, I'm trying to think of his name here. It's escaping me at the moment, and that's going to bug me. Actually did voice of Starscream in the movie, because Chris Latia, or Lata, or whatever, however you pronounce it, is actually dead. So, I thought that was really badass. But yeah, I really loved what Hugo Weaving did to him, you know, voicing Megatron, so that was cool. So now that I introduced, like, the three main characters in this movie, well, not really main, but, like, the big actors in it, because Gwen was pretty big, but I don't recall who Emily Blunt is. I think that was her name. So yeah. Moving on. The synopsis of the story, Lawrence Talbot returns home because of his missing brother. By the time he gets there, his brother is found to be dead. The townsfolk blame gypsies or bears. Maybe it was gypsy bears, I don't know. Marauding bear tribes of northern Alaska. See how I brought in the Alaskan Bush Troopers? Yeah. How they got to England is a mystery. They may have swam. Don't know. One of the town folks talks about melting down silver for bullets. And I gotta wonder, who thinks of that? I mean, who out there is like, hey, let's melt down some silver. We'll go through all the metals, people. All the metals. We'll melt down some gold. Melt down some silver. Let's melt down some rice patties. That'd be fun. Yeah. I don't know why. I'm not sure why anybody thinks of that. I know that in the movie Ginger Snaps, they talked about silver killing impurities, which, by the way, that's another excellent werewolf movie, especially from the viewpoint of female werewolves. I recommend seeing Ginger Snaps. I love that movie. And I love the cookies. They're delicious cookies. And Benicio del Toro. And I can't help it. The guy is kind of yummy, alright? Especially in Snatch. Have you seen him in that? Oh, yeah. He's pretty hot. So, anywho, melting silver, random townfolk do it. So does Lawrence's father's servant. I don't know why his servant does it. Well, I know why now, but during the beginning of the movie, it's like, why does he do that? Is it a hobby? Does everybody get together? He's doing so to take precautions against the demon. Lawrence visits his brother Ben's tomb at some point before the entire scene with the townsfolk happen. However, he doesn't discuss anything with his father until after the scene with the townsfolk, which is kind of weird. The movie kind of jumps around a little bit, which I didn't really like. There was a continuity issue with it, kind of. I mean, Lawrence would go off and have these trippy, like, hallucinations, and then something would happen to the townsfolk, and then it'd come back to Lawrence, and it was really, yeah, didn't care too much for that. Where am I as far as my reading here? Yeah, I have a script so that I don't screw this up and repeat myself, because some people thought that I should have a script. Did this myself. No writer. Back on topic here. He visits his brother's tomb and talks to his father about what he saw there. The wound marks and a medallion his brother had. And his father explains that it's not from the tiger or bear. He's seen both. And of course he's seen both. It's Anthony Hopkins. I'm pretty sure he's punched the devil in the balls and slapped Justin Bieber so hard his voice went up 2 octaves. Actually, if he slapped Justin Bieber, I'm pretty sure Bieber would explode. Alright? So I don't think that's actually happened yet, but I think it should happen. I think it should. You know, Anthony Hopkins needs to keep his pimp hand strong. More discussion with his father reveals the medallion on his brother is that of St. Columbus, which is an Eastern saint, gypsy saint, I guess. He also mentions that his brother was a negotiator to the gypsies. Alright, during a dream sequence, flashback, which is kind of a dream sequence, kind of a flashback, I don't know. It's trippy. Lawrence finds his mother in the arms of the father dead. We find out that he spent a year after her death in a mental ward, which means Benicio del Toro is crazy hot. I want to make sure that point gets across in this video blog, because I really think Benicio del Toro is one of those overlooked actors, you know? He's a sexy man. Periodically throughout the movie, it shows the father strangely obsessed with the moon. Don't know why. Well, I know why. But you don't know why yet, because I've not told you. Unless you've seen the movie, in which case, why are you watching me do this? Seriously. You could be watching something so much better right now. Like 2 Girls, 1 Cup. Or as I like to call it, the Human Centipede. Actually, that's 2 Girls, 1 Asian. But that title probably didn't go over too well. After his trippy dream, Lawrence heads to the gypsy camps and visits Malova. Or Malava? I don't know, I put it on here, but I haven't seen the movie in like 3 days, so I forgot how to pronounce it. And she's like the person to talk to about curses, and, you know, she was one of the people that Ben talked to a lot as far as negotiations happen. While he's there, there's a painfully obvious CGI bear. Like, it's painfully obvious that the bear is CGI. And this is the bear that people are blaming for Ben's death. I mean, Yogi looked better than this guy. Horrible. I don't know why people had that. Not Yogi Bear. I haven't seen that movie. I can't say if that's horrible or not. But the CGI bear was horrible. Yogi looked like a real bear compared to this bear. Oh, and the werewolf shows up. Actually, I have it in here. Oh, and the werewolf shows up. It's pretty cool. And Lawrence gets bit in the neck. Malova gives him stitches and has one of the younger gypsies tell her to kill him. She can't. According to the curse, he can only be set free by someone who loves him. There is no, like, kill, you know? He's set free. Lawrence spends weeks, maybe months, recovering, all the while his dead brother's fiancée, Gwen, is taking care of him. So, and they really don't say if it's like days, weeks, months. I'm not really too sure on that. There's a lot of setting and rising of the moon, and a lot of time change. It's like one of those montages from the 80s minus the upbeat music. Or Judd Nelson. So, Because I think every montage from the 80s had him or Molly Ringwald. I'm not sure. I think it's like in the rules. Once he recovers, Lawrence, that is once he recovers, Aberline, played by Hugo Weaving, comes to question him about his attack. Aberline works for the Scotland Yard. Scotland Yard, not Guard. Scott Guard is something totally different. Typos. If I had a writer, this wouldn't happen. Okay. He had a hand in the Ripper case and wants to conduct experiments on Lawrence because of his recovery from his neck wound. And also because Lawrence is crazy. Again, crazy hot. After the visit, Lawrence starts to show signs. He's got sensitivity to hearing. Animals, mostly the horses, freak out around him. And his own dog starts to cower around him. Which, in the beginning of the movie, his dog's kind of like, who the fuck are you? And growls at him. But at this point in the movie, his dog's just like, whoa. Back off. He realizes something weird is up. Not the dog, but Lawrence. And demands that Gwen leaves. Just for her safety. At one point, he checks his now healed scar on the wrong side of his neck. Yeah, I noticed that. Because he gets bit on this side, but then he checks the mirror on this side. So it's like, well, no duh, Benicio. Your scar's gonna be gone, dude. It's the wrong side. Lawrence, for whatever reason, decides to visit his mother's tomb and finds that his dad has a swanky room behind it. And it is really swanky. It's kind of reminiscent of Jason Voorhees. Oh my god, did somebody say Jason Voorhees? Jason. Alright, moving on. The room behind is an additional shrine to his mother that has a chair with leather straps on it. Apparently his mother was kinky. I don't know. Then she gets real. John Talbot, which is Anthony Hopkins' character, tells his son to let the beast out, which sounds like a sexual innuendo. However, it is not. I'm slightly disappointed. Being cock teases there. Although in my case, it probably wouldn't be a cock tease. But, I mean, that's the only, like, metaphor I've got for that right there. Seriously, guys. Rude. Where was I with my reading? I'm sorry. Lawrence shifts and begins attacking townsfolk. He looks badass for the werewolf. I really like that. It wasn't like the wolves you see in Twilight, which, you know, I think for the most part were actual wolves. Although I am kind of... Twilight. I am an Edward fan, but if you read Anita Blake, that's the Edward I love, okay? And he definitely wasn't like Oz, either, from Buffy. So it was something different. I kind of liked it. It was like human hybrid werewolf, you know, the classy. Obviously, it's supposed to be the classy werewolf because this is what the movie's a remake of. He goes on a murderous rampage. Lawrence does, and he wakes up in a tree. I'm not sure why. Maybe he needed cookies, you know, because Keebler elves live in trees, or so I hear. That was the reason I came up with. If you got a better one, post it here. I don't know. And his father finds him in the tree and is kind of nonchalant about his son killing people. Lawrence is apprehended by Aberline and sent to the asylum, which is the same asylum he went to when he was a young boy after his mother's death. So now Lawrence is in the asylum. Treatments at the asylum involve being strapped to a chair and dropped in ice cold water. There are ice chunks in it, so that's how ice cold it is. Also, there's some shock treatment. Not affiliated with Rocky Horror. That's the wrong kind of shock treatment. But evidently being drowned and electrocuted causes strange hallucinations. I really can't describe them. There's lots of blood, some side boobage, lots of flashy random images. Before the final day of his recovery, Lawrence is visited by his father, who says it's like a trophy. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Lycanthropy. That he has. John Talbot talks about his run-in with a feral boy that had the disease and how he had been bitten. He goes on to explain that he killed his wife as a wolf and has been a wolf for 25 years. Which explains the leather straps. His manservant used to strap him into the chair while he transformed. It also explains why the manservant had the silver bullets in case, for any reason, John Talbot escaped and became crazy, which that worked really well. You killed his son, which he does admit to killing his own son. Just to keep Gwen around, because Gwen reminded him of his late wife that had passed. Not passed, but had been killed by him. And Lawrence is left alone with these revelations and a straight razor.